Hello and welcome to watching this video. In this video, I want to show you how you can work with a circle, square, and everything here in a standard particles tab in RealFlow. Okay, first I create sphere and then change scale. For example, here is good. And now go to a standard particles and create circle. Click that, and now as you can see it create this circle. Okay, now change this scale and for example here is good. Okay, very good. Now select these two objects and then press Ctrl D. As you can see, it duplicate that two objects. Okay, now select move option and then change position, for example to here. Here is good, and again press Ctrl D. Now change position to here. Very good. Now change camera, for example to here. Okay, now if you click this button simulate, as you can see it simulate like liquid, and it's very good. Okay, for example it's good. As you can see, when you change this indicator, it change that liquid, for example like this. Okay, now I want to change this name for example this circle. Change name circle, for example 01, and change it, rename 02, rename it to 03. Very good. Okay, and now I want simulate again, but you should first click reset and then click yes. After that click simulate. Don't forget click this reset. Okay, now when you change that, as you can see it create like this. Okay, now click circle 1 and then here in particles group we have many options here. First is type. Here you can change your type that you want to use. That for example you want select gas or liquid or damp or elastic and everything. For example a script, you can select that. For example for circle 1 I'm click gas, and in circle 2 liquid is good, and circle 3 select dump. Okay, now click reset and yes, and click simulate, and waiting for this particle. Okay, now as you can see it's create like this. This is for gas and this is for liquid and this is for damp. Okay, now change all of that to liquid. Very good, and click reset and yes, again click simulate. Okay, now I want to show you what is resolution. With this option you can change amount of the particles. For example circle 1 here, it's 1. Circle 2, I change it to number 2, and for 3 change resolution to 3. Okay, now click reset, yes, and click simulate. As you can see here for number 3, okay, as you can see here with resolution 1, here with resolution 2, and here with resolution 3. And if you change 1 to, for example, 5, and for 2 change it to 6, and for 3 change it to 7. Click reset, yes, and simulate. As you can see, for number 3, that's 7, we have more than particle from 2, and 2 we have more particle from 1. Okay, next is density. With density you can change density of your liquid. For example, if you want to create water, you should set this density to 1000. Now, for example, reset all of that and change resolution for all, change it to 1. Okay, now change this density. For example, for circle 1, 1000 is good, and for circle 2 change it to 2000, and circle 3 change it to 3000. Very good. Now click reset and simulate. As you can see, density is changed. For example, again, if you change density here, change it to, for example, 20, and for 2 change it to, for example, 30, and here change it to 50 for number 3, and click reset, yes, and again click simulate. As you can see here, for circle 1, because density is lower, finally here we have low density, and here is more, and here is more than number 2. And for example, if you change circle 1, change density to 5, click reset, yes, and click simulate. Now, as you can see, that density is very low. Okay, change all of that to 1000, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and then click reset, and yes, it's INT pressure and X pressure. These two options is used for every particle and push them apart. For example, change X pressure, change it to exactly same in pressure. For example, 2, change it to 0.02, and for circle 1 change it to 0.02. Very good. Now click simulate. Okay, as you can see, for number 3 it's default, but for number 2 here it's more like dump. And for example, if you set these two options to 0, and then click reset, and again click simulate. As you can see here, exactly like dump. But for number 3, here is default of that liquid. Okay. Change all of that to 1 for circle 2 and circle 1. Okay, now I want to teach you what is viscosity. If you want to create water, you should set viscosity to 3. But if you want to create honey or tar or syrup, you should change up. For example, if you set low number for viscosity, it look like alcohol, and with circle 3, 3 is good. Okay, click reset and then click simulate. Okay, stop that. As you can see, circle 1 is 30 and it look like honey. But number 2, it's low viscosity. As you can see, it's like alcohol. And here it's default and it look like water. And with surface tension, if you change it, for example, for number 1, change it to 20, and circle 2, change it to 50, and 30 is good. Click reset, yes, and simulate. As you can see here, it's much better and it's like chocolate. If you change surface tension and increase that, for example 30, 50, it look like chocolate. Like this. Okay. And in max particle, you can select how much particle you want create. For example, here is this number. You can select and change that. Okay, next group I want to show you is circle. With this option, you can change volume, speed, and random, and everything here we can change. For example, first select your circle 1 and change this to default. It's 3 and it's 0. 3, 0, and here 3, 0. Okay, and click reset and yes. Okay, now go to circle group. First is volume. With this option, you can create static particles, and if you change that, automatic speed is 0. For example, if you change it to 1, as you can see, automatic speed is 0. For example, here is 1, number 2, change volume to 2. Very good. Now click reset and then click simulate. As you can see, it's create like this. Here is 1, volume is 1, and here volume is 2, and here is 0 with 2 speed. Okay, now change volume to 0. Here change it to 0, and change speed default is 2, but I change it to 20, and here change it to 50. Circle 1 is 2, circle 2 is 20, and circle 3 is 50. Okay, click reset, and then again click simulate. As you can see, particle is create very fast. For example, number 3 is 50. It's very fast. And here is better speed, and here it's normal speed. Okay, if you press spacebar, as you can see, here is very fast. Okay, now change this option to number 2 for default, and click reset. Now we have two options, V random and H random, vertical and horizontal. For number 3, if you change vertical to 1 and 1, and number 2 change it to 10 and 10 and circle 1, it's default. Okay, now click simulate. Okay, as you can see, it's like twist, and it's random from vertical and horizontal this particle. And for number 2 it's so much. Okay, and here for number 1 it's default. Okay, now delete all of your objects. And now I wanna show you what is these particles. Number 2 is square. If you click that and then click reset, yes, and click simulate. Okay, as you can see, it's exactly like circle, just it's like square. As you can see, all particle like square. Okay, and all property like that circle. Okay, delete that. And next is sphere. If you add it and then reset, yes, and click simulate, as you can see, it create all particle like sphere. And this property like previous. Okay, now delete that. Next is linear. If you simulate that, as you can see, it create particle like line. Very good. Next is triangle, and when you simulate that, as you can see, it create triangle particles like this. Very good. Click that and delete. Next is spline. spline is very good tools that you can create particle from this spline. I will teach you how you can connect this spline to, for example, this D spline and other thing I will teach you. Okay, now if you click reset and yes and simulate, as you can see, create particle from this spline. If you want edit this spline, you should click this item, edit, and then click this move option and click and change position, for example to here, and change it to here, and for example change it to here. Now click reset, yes, and now click simulate. Okay, as you can see, it create this particle from this E spline. Very good. Click reset, yes, and delete this E spline. Should turn off this and then delete that. Now create text, for example VFXRZ, and click OK. Very good. Now if you click simulate, as you can see, create simulate like your text. You can see that simulate. Here is good. Okay, now delete this, and next is a cylinder. If you click cylinder and reset, yes, and then click simulate, as you can see, it create this particle like a cylinder. Very good. Delete this cylinder. With bitmap, you can create particle from your picture or your JPEG sequence. I will teach you how you can work with this bitmap. Next is object. If you select that, you should select your object. For example, I add this object and then click this particle object. Now you should go to object panel and then click your object that you want create particle from that object. For example, I need this object, and next click OK. Very good. Now click reset, yes, and when you click simulate, as you can see, create that particle from this object. Very good. Delete this object and this model. Now next is a fill object. If you click fill object, for example, I add this object. When you click this fill object, you should in fill object select your object. For example, I want this object, and then click OK. Now reset, yes, simulate. Okay, as you can see, it fill my object, and my object is full. Okay. One thing you should pay attention about that, it, as you can see, it start from here. But for example, I want to start from 34. For do that, first you should change indicator that you want to start that, and then in your particle object you should turn on this checkbox and then click make initial state. After that you should click here and then click reset to initial state. Very good. Now click reset and then yes. Now if you simulate that, as you can see, it starts from here that we create initial that. Okay. Next is fiber. Now select this object and delete, and for example add this object. After that, in standard particles, click fiber. Very good. In fiber you should select your object, and in fiber here select your object and then click OK. Now click reset, yes. And now as you can see, we have this fiber from here, here, and when you click fiber here, you can change length. For example, this is 1. If you change it 2, as you can see, length is increased. When I will teach you gravity or attractor and other thing, and for example this mesh, I will teach you how you can use this fiber and use that in your animation. Okay. Delete these two option. Okay, standard particles is done. In next video I want to show you what is this daemons object, and we will learn how you can use mesh and other thing in RealFlow. Thank you for watching this video and goodbye.